People say that they give bribes because Museveni is always giving the khaki envelope to members of the population. Mureke kutahama hizi n'ebyondo. Do not draw water mixed with mud. Do not mix up issues. The brown envelopes I give are part of the ancient tradition here. It is called okurongora. It is the king who does that to the singers or wrestlers, etc. President is the modern king. You are not kings. You are not kings. I have a budget for that. I do not sell my cows to get money kurongora singers. Murekerao umwenkana onkano. The dairy industry, the poultry, the Karangara palm oil project. These are projects pushed by the government that have transformed people's lives, not petty money from MPs for fundraising or bribes. So this is suicide for nothing. The voters need to know that these practices of bribes and fundraising are overthrowing the voters' power. The voters, you are overthrowing your own power by electing people because they have given you money. Because then you are power to elect leaders that will work with the central government to solve the problems of the voters, such as infrastructure, supervise wealth funds that are being stolen by the parish chiefs, etc. Do not accept petty money from politicians and throw away your power to elect a leader that can kwemerera. Kwemerera is the Nyankwere word to supervise the money sent to you through the parish or to fight corruption in your area. Once we solve the problem of political corruption that has paralyzed the populist politicians, it will be easy to fight the corruption of the public servants. Why? It is because we have a reliable source for Okurega. Okurega is whistleblowing. These are the people, the victims of the corruption. The people who are the people who are deprived of these services, the population are the victims of the corruption. In the 1960s, we would go to the people. They had all the information. The big changes that are happening in Uganda are by the following actors. The National Resistance Army, UPDF, that liberated the country and has been ensuring peace ever since. The wealth creators in the four sectors of agriculture, manufacturing, services, and ICT. The government scientists that make innovations, and the responsible members of the political class that have been supporting the NRM programs. It is therefore not fair for some actors to spoil these successes. Some people say that they give bribes because Museveni is always giving the khaki envelope to members of the population. Mureke kutahama hizi n'ebyondo. Do not draw water mixed with mud. Do not mix up issues. The brown envelopes I give are part of the ancient tradition here. It is called okurongora. It is the king who does that to the singers or wrestlers, etc. President is the modern king. You are not kings. You are not kings. I have a budget for that. I do not sell my cows to get money kurongora singers. Murekerawo omwenkanonkano. This is the Uganda word, it summarizes the whole thing. Murekerawo omwenkanonkano, stop trying to be like the one who is bigger than you. You tell those people that Museveni gives the envelope because he has got a budget. He's president. I'm not president. Why do you want? Fundraising was and is premature. The head of the fundraising is Oxonda. Fundraising is our word is Oxonda, whereby you make small equal contributions but by many contributors. In the 1950s, Mzee Kaguta sometimes would participate in Oxondera to contribute for Enjoga. Enjoga, a pot full of ruagwa, of banana alcohol. At that time, Enjoga, a pot full was 5 shillings. 5 people would contribute 1 shilling each. That's the Oxonda, that is the fundraising. You contribute equal, small amounts that you can afford. But with what's happening now, with the rampant fundraising, the MP carries the whole burden. The MP carries the whole burden. It is really extortion. But it was instigated by the MPs who created the impression that they had the type of money when they did not have. Even the church leaders and other elders should ask those young mistake makers the following question. Naye mwana wange, esente zino zonna ozijjawa? That's what I would ask my people if I saw young people throwing around money. That is what a responsible parent should ask omwana, son or daughter, or omuzukuru, grandchild, if he or she sees him or her throwing around money. The translation of that question is, my child, from where are you getting all this money that you are throwing around? The responsible parents should not accept stolen gifts from their children or mabanja from their children. So I thought this is what I wanted to comment on the issue of the political corruption and the other corruption. Now, the talk of movement, you are talking about the 3 historical missions and 4 ideological principles. Not about me. You are not important. Elect me. Elect you for what? Because you are handsome, because you are what? What medicine do you have for us? What medicine do you have for us? We need a medicine for our problems. With these 3 historical missions and the 4 ideological principles, we were able to shape our strategy vis-à-vis Africa. Whatever we did was guided by this. Why did we tactically work with Obote? But when Amin came, we decided to fight him. Because we saw Obote, we were trying to see how we can move him, beg him, see how to move him to our program. But Amin was off the point. So we said, kwenda, toka. You cannot interfere with our destiny. We have a journey. We are on a journey. You stood in front of us, tunakutoa. The strategy that we always commend, this strategy we always commend to our supporters, is to work for economic integration of the whole of Africa so as to support prosperity of the African people and support the additional political integration in the parts of Africa where it is feasible by creating political federations, such as the Political Federation of East Africa. Mwalimu Nyerere and ourselves diverged a bit from Mzee Nkrumah and Muammar Gaddafi, who were talking of a continental government of the whole of Africa. We do not think that such a target of a continental government of the whole of Africa was either feasible or even desirable, because the whole of Africa does not possess enough similarities and linkages to be cohesive, a necessary prerequisite for political integration. East Africa is, and with the use of Swahili, can be very cohesive. The whole of Africa should be one common market. Apart from the Niger-Congo linguistic group that has got a lot of similarities, there are also linkages with, for instance, the Nilo-Saharan groups of languages. This is how, amazingly, I discovered that the Somali word for cow is Saa. It is the very word that most of the Bantu dialects in the Great Lakes use to describe the cow dung, not any other dung. So what the Somalis call a cow is what we call cow dung here. But you can see the linkage. There are a lot of linkages with the Nilotic dialects that we do not have to go into here. It is this belief in the three historical principles and three historical missions and four ideological principles that enabled the student movement of the 1960s to metamorphose into the armed Fronasa that fought Amin and eventually the NRA-NRM. We rejected the sectarian politics of identity of religion, tribes, and gender chauvinism. By 1986, we had a force of 20,000 NRA fighters backed by millions of civilians that were only propelled by conviction, not by any mercenary interests. The majority of the NRA UPDF have maintained this. That is why between 1971 and 2021, the NRA UPDF was fighting for no pay or low pay. Owing to death of some of our supporters, from natural causes mainly, we started getting some corrupt elements, but a minority. These are a minority and are easy to identify and isolate. The spirit of voluntarism was also strong among the civilians. That is why the National Resistance Council, for instance, we are getting a low salary, but we are content. When we came to the Constituent Assembly, we improved the pay, knowing that it was a temporary parliament. However, subsequent parliaments made two mistakes. One was to increase their salary and allowances, thereby departing from the spirit of sacrifice that had been the hallmark of the NRA, UPDF, NRM. Secondly, a group known as YPA, Young Parliamentarians Association, opportunistically and for cheap popularity, started going around the country and conducting fundraising for some cheap popularity projects, such as schools, etc. I warned them, but they could not listen. I did not want to precipitate a crisis with them when we had problems of Rwanda, Congo, South Sudan, etc. This is, however, why I rejected the call to raise the pay of the president. I said the president will never get a high salary as long as I'm in government and as long as the economy is still growing. Comrades, it's now time to see how to correct these two mistakes. This is because it led the population to believe that the political leaders have a lot of money and must share it with the voters in the form of bribes and endless fundraisings. although the MPs gave themselves a lot of money, it is not enough to meet these indisciplined demands for bribes and fundraisings. Hence, they end up with debts, and some have run from the constituencies. I hear some of them are IDPs. Internally displaced persons. The government, through the budgets, is the one that can help the people to solve their problems. Programs like NADS, Operational Wealth Creation, PDM, Emyoga, etc. have already shown that they can liberate people from poverty. You can see it. You can see it. There's a man from Kamwenje. If you can show me that Kamwenje man, you people, my group, the man in Kamwenje, the man of coffee,